all this Sasha Banks and Naomi stuff with them walking out got me thinking. It's funny that we had a few wrestlers roll out on them this year, and it happened that these two young ladies, they did the same thing, but WWE didn't make a stink on television and actually do a press release about them leaving the way they did on TV and on their official website when those other people walked out. I feel, and a lot of the other people in the wrestling community feel like, because these were two black women standing up for themselves, that they're being difficult. It seems like in the world, when black people stand up for themselves and what they believe in the corporate world, some white people feel like that they are being difficult and unprofessional. And WWE put that same message out there as well. So that's why a lot of fans are very disgusted with what's going on right now. I could have told you a long time ago that WWE has not really treated black people fair, even though they done put the championships on several over the past couple of years because they had no choice. But once you see how their title reigns went, they're not very memorable. All you can remember is when they won and when they lost. But this whole Sasha Banks thing and Naomi, we know Sasha did this before, but now we can understand. I can understand why Sasha did this the first time, because she fought to get these tag team titles out there. They got them out there and they ain't not doing nothing with them. And that's why these two young ladies are pissed off about this. But any of their white peers that would have did this, they probably would have been praised in the back and praised online by a lot of fans as well. But this is not the only time WWE has did some racist stuff and stereotypical stuff of how some certain section of white people feel and look at black people about. So I'm going to give you a few examples. I want to bring up something that happened in the last few years, about 15 years, when Booker T and Triple H had that program. And basically, Triple H basically called him a nappy-headed, you know the word. I don't want to get pulled off of YouTube for saying that word, but that's what he insinuated in the program, and actually did a promo saying that all Booker T could do was just basically carry his bags and be an entertainer and dance for people, and that's about it. Playing in all the stereotypes that some white people perceive of black people back in the day, and he just basically used that in the program. And the bad thing about it was the way it was set up. Booker T should have won that match at WrestleMania, but all they did was have Triple H win that match, and it basically proved Triple H's point and made Booker T look like a schmuck at the end. But the bad thing about it is Booker T now defends the hell out of everything that WWE does on his podcast, and he has said some controversial stuff about black people, and it comes off as the old slave master mentality. Basically, he's acting like a house Negro for the WWE. Basically, he's playing that character that Sam Jackson did in Django Unchained. That's basically what Booker T is acting like now. And I wish Booker T would admit how that storyline played out and how racist it came towards on television, and how the ending to that match just didn't seem right. It should have been him winning that match, and maybe people wouldn't look at that program as badly and how it does not age well at all going back looking at that program. And that's just one of the examples of WWE treating their black folk. And I want to bring something up that happened a long time ago. WWE legend Tony Atlas was at one point down on his luck and very broke. So WWE offered him a job to come back to wrestle again. But guess what they did when they brought him back as a wrestler? What they did to him was have him come out there in an African outfit, barefooted, with a spear in his hand, and named him Saba Simba, even though we all knew that was Tony Atlas. All they had to do was have Tony Atlas come out as who he was, but nah, they had to put him in an African headdress and had him in with a spear and basically turn him into a spear chucker. That's what they call them. Especially white people say that mess. So, because he was down on his luck and because they gave him a job, they felt like that they could just do anything to him and have him come out and humiliate himself in a ridiculous looking outfit. Sure, he got paid and it probably helped him get back on his feet, but that was a very embarrassing way to bring back a legend and one of your first black champions, especially he was the first black tag team champion with Rock's father, Rocky Johnson, and that's how they treated him because he was down on his luck. They had him come out looking like Boo Boo the Fool, and even as a kid, I just shook my head about that mess. It was like, that's messed up. And one more example I want to bring up is a lot of people might forgot about this. I didn't. When they had Bobby Lashley steal Lana from Rusev and had Bobby Lashley basically playing the stereotypical Mandingo role, lustering over a white woman, but a lot of people didn't really get that context because it went over a lot of people's heads. It didn't go over my head. I understand exactly what they was doing on there, and they actually humiliated Rusev so badly. That man said, "Forget this. I'm done. I don't want to be bothered with this mess no more." So he rolled out. His wife was still there, but he wasn't. And they didn't really do nothing with her after that storyline either. To me, it seemed like a punishment to her, but that's kind of off topic and for another subject at another time. But yeah, that whole storyline was very, very suspect to me. And I know that context went over a lot of people's heads. I didn't. I understand exactly what they was doing in that storyline. So that's just some of the examples. It's probably more out there with WWE showing their bias and racism towards black people, some in non-subtle ways, and some that is just so blatantly out there, and you can see it and you can pick it up, and they don't care. And this latest example with how they treating these two young ladies because they wanted to stick up for themselves, that's how they feeling right now about those two particular sisters. If anybody like Charlotte or Becky would have did this, actually Charlotte did do some unprofessional stuff and there was no backlash with her, and that was just recently. So this is Wild Man Will signing off. See you next time.